Hey chums, and welcome back to the Kenwood Kids Club, coming to you from the Mr. Baker's Cakes kitchen. I think it's safe to say that the warmer weather is finally here, and I don't know about you, but that gets me thinking about creative ways that I can make my lunchbox for school a little bit more interesting. At my school, we've been taking part in the Eat Them to Defeat Them campaign once again, and you may recall that here in the Kenwood Kids Club last year, we created a whole host of recipes that you could make at home using some of those tricky veggie villains so that you could be well on your way to defeating them as part of the campaign. I think it was a combination of the warmer weather and that campaign that made me come up with this recipe to share with you today. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make some crustless mini quiches, which are absolutely fantastic for adding into your lunchbox and taking to school with you, or for a super quick and easy snack when you get home after school. Now, if you're a fan of quiche, we do have a recipe right here in the Kids Club for a proper full-size quiche with a crust. But today I'm going to be showing you how to make a crustless quiche, which means we're not making any pastry at all, and what I love about this recipe the most is that you can literally fill it with anything you want. In the recipe, and today, I'm going to be using some ham, some baby plum tomatoes, and some tenderstem broccoli. But if you're not a fan of any of those ingredients, or you just want to use what you've already got at home, then by all means switch them out for anything you like, whether that's a different type of meat, like some chicken perhaps, different veggies. Mediterranean veg goes absolutely fabulously in these as well. And in fact, if you do come up with some creative ways to fill your crustless mini quiches, don't forget to head over to the Kenwood Kids Club website and upload a pic so that I can see what you've been up to. Before we get started, if it is your first time watching one of our videos here in the Kenwood Kids Club, don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button down below. And again, head to the video description where you'll find a link to the Kenwood Kids Club website to make sure that you're all signed up over there and that you've got your membership card. But without much further ado, I think we better get cracking. Now, the first thing you're going to need to make your crustless mini quiches are of course some eggs, probably the most vital ingredient in any quiche recipe. I'm using 6 medium eggs today, and I'm just going to crack those straight into a large mixing jug. This is the biggest one I have. And then in with those eggs, I'm going to add in 3 tablespoons of milk, and I'm just using semi-skimmed milk today. I'm going to add in about 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and the same again of freshly ground pepper. And then finally about 1/2 teaspoon of dried oregano. Now, if you don't have dried oregano, you can use mixed herbs as well. They're just going to add a little bit of extra flavour to your crustless mini quiches. Once everything is in there, just grab a fork and give everything a really good mix. Once it's looking really nice and smooth like that, we can just set this aside for now and we can move on to the next step of this recipe. Now, when it comes to assembling your crustless mini quiches, you want to use a large muffin tin, but there are a few different ways that you can make your life a little bit easier. I actually have a silicone muffin tin here, and why this is particularly useful for a recipe like this is it's non-stick, so when it comes time to take my crustless mini quiches out of the tin, they're going to come out super easily. If you don't have a silicone muffin tin like this, you can use the individual silicone cupcake cases in a normal muffin tin, or you can just use a regular muffin tin. Make sure you spray it with plenty of cooking oil spray. I tend to use that low-calorie one that I think it's called Fry Light if I'm doing it straight into those, but you might find you need to give them a helping hand to get them out. If you do have a silicone one like this though, just give it a little spray of oil as well, and then you're ready to go. One thing that's really important is to make sure that you have prepped your ingredients in advance of this step. If you're using anything that needs to be cooked in advance, whether it's something like bacon or chicken, or some vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, anything that doesn't cook very quickly, then you need to make sure you've cooked it a little bit in advance. As you can see here, I've got my tenderstem broccoli, which I've steamed in advance and then chopped it up into nice small pieces. I've got my baby plum tomatoes, which I've chopped into quarters, and then I've just got some regular ham, which I've just shredded down into small pieces as well. Then all you need to do is just place a little bit of each ingredient into each section of the muffin tin. I like to do mine in layers because I think it looks really nice when you bite into your crustless mini quiches, but you don't have to do that. You could just kind of mix everything together first. It's really up to you. So I'm going in with a little layer of tomato first of all. I'm going to try and put an equal amount into each section, but it doesn't matter if it's not perfect. What you can also do, because we're making these in individual moulds, is if somebody in your family doesn't like one of the ingredients, you can just leave them out of that particular section. Then I'm going to go in with some of that shredded ham, just kind of a generous pinch into each section of the mould. And then finally on top of that, I'm going to go in with some of my broccoli. I like to put the broccoli on the top because it means that it will show through a little bit when I've cooked my mini quiches, and it just looks quite nice. Again, I'm trying to do roughly an even amount in each one, but it doesn't need to be exact. It's not a precise thing at all. Hopefully you're realising that these are super quick and easy to make as well, so the perfect thing to whip up for your lunchbox for the week ahead. I like to eat mine with a little bit of a fresh salad, but they're also just really great on their own as a little snack. Okay, I think these are looking pretty good. And then the last ingredient that's going to go into each section is some grated cheese. Now I like to use a mature cheddar cheese here so that you can really taste it against all of these other ingredients. And again, you kind of want a generous pinch. Try and get it so that it all fits inside each section of your muffin tin if you can. And then once you've got everything into the different sections of the muffin tin, grab your egg mixture back in and just pour it over the top of each one. I like to do this quite slowly because otherwise it can overflow, but gradually the egg will work its way down through the other ingredients and kind of bind everything together. So I do kind of a little bit in each one, and then I'll go back again and do a little bit more. Try and keep these quite even. You can usually tell how much is in each one by looking at the edges of the muffin tin sections. And then when you get to this stage, I like to just give them a tiny bit more black pepper on top of each one. That's definitely an optional step though. And then these need to go into a preheated oven at 180 degrees C, which is 160 degrees fan or gas mark 4. And yes, I have got a new cheat sheet over to the side. For those of you who haven't watched before, I always forget the gas mark conversion, so I've given myself a helping hand with a sign on the wall. But anyway, yes, 180 degrees C, gas mark, 160 degrees fan or gas mark 4, and they need to bake for around about 15 to 18 minutes until they don't look wet anymore and they should be slightly springy to the touch. I'm going to go and pop mine in the oven, and then I will see you in a second when hopefully they will be beautifully baked and ready to eat. And as always, through the wonder of editing, there are my freshly baked crustless mini quiches. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Sometimes if I feel they haven't browned enough on the top, I like to pop them under the grill for a couple of minutes just to kind of finish them off perfectly. But that's definitely an optional extra step and one you don't have to do, but I'm sure you'll agree it gives them that lovely golden brown colour by just kind of finishing off melting that cheese, and just, they smell so good. Now you want to leave them in the tin to cool down completely ideally, just because that means everything will kind of bond together nice and sturdily before you take them out, particularly if you're not using a silicone muffin tin like I am. These have baked for about 18 minutes and they're still a little bit warm, but in the interest of getting this video finished on time, I am going to grab a cooling rack, and then you'll see how easy this silicone tin makes it to remove them. Just look at that, they just come out so easily. So I'm going to transfer them onto this cooling rack to finish cooling down, and then I can simply pop them in an airtight container in the fridge for up to 3 days, meaning that I can just pop 1 or 2 or even 3 in my lunchbox, ready to take to school. As I say, if you don't have the silicone tin, you might find this bit a little bit trickier, but I find just running kind of like a silicone spatula around the edges just kind of helps them on their way out. There's 6. Now obviously normally at this stage in the video would be where I give it a try, but regular viewers will know that I'm actually a vegetarian and I don't eat meat, so I'm not going to be trying these because of course they contain ham, but don't worry, these are going to be rehomed with someone I know who will absolutely enjoy them. It just means that you'll have to give them a try and let me know what you think of them instead. So let's pop this out of the way, bring this in, and what we will do is we'll just grab one and we'll gently break it open so you can see inside. So we've got a bit of a cheese pull going on. Can you see all those delicious ingredients in there? We've got our broccoli, we've got our tomato, we've got our ham, all held together by that delicious eggy mixture and then topped off with that kind of crispy melted cheese as well. Now, as I said earlier on, what's absolutely brilliant about these Crustless mini quiches is you can make them using any ingredients that you like. So whether that's something like bacon and mushroom, Mediterranean vegetables, some spinach goes really well in there. In fact, anything you can think of that generally goes well in quiche will work in these Crustless mini quiches. So I would love for you to head to the link down in the video description, check out the full recipe and give them a go. Once you've done that, don't forget to head to the Kenwood Kids Club website and upload a picture of your bake so that you'll be entered into our Star Baker of the Month competition. Every month we choose our favourite upload from one of our members and they receive our coveted Star Baker of the Month prize, which gets them their very own Kenwood Kids Club goodie bag, which includes all sorts of goodies like a pen and iPad stylus, an apron, an ingredient pad, their very own Kenwood Kids Club branded spatula, our little recipe booklet, and of course you get your own Kenwood mixer as well, which when I was first starting getting into cooking and baking would have been an absolutely amazing prize. So if that sounds like something you'd like to get your hands on, why not have a go at this week's recipe and share the results with us on the Kenwood Kids Club website. As I mentioned earlier on, if it's your first time watching one of our recipe tutorials here in the Kenwood Kids Club YouTube channel, don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button down there on the, I think it's the right? You'll be able to see it, it's very big. That will make sure you never miss another one of our uploads. And don't forget to come back at the same time next week, Thursday at 4 o'clock, where I'm going to be starting to share some of my favourite Easter recipes with you as well. I've been stocking up on some of my favourite Easter chocolates and I've got lots of really fun ideas to share with you. We've also got a whole host of recipe ideas from last year's Easter uploads, for want of a better word, as well. So if you fancy having a go at some of those, don't forget you can head to our video list and check them out. I'm definitely going to be having another go at the Easter egg cheesecakes. They're super yummy. In fact, I might need to come up with a new variation on those for this year as well. But anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed learning how to make my Crustless mini quiches, and I'll see you at the same time next week. Until then, as always, take care and happy baking. Bye.